What's up guys? We are back out here working on the Jon boat. At this point, I have the middle floor and front deck pretty much complete. For today's video, we're going to be taking this front deck out of the boat, installing some type of joining braces similar to this on the reverse side, and then everything is going to be getting waterproofed with epoxy. All right, so to get started, I'm going to go ahead and grab this front deck, throw it on some jack stands, and see what we got to do about joining all the pieces together, and then we can get to epoxy. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is try to back out these screws. Not enough to have it all disconnect, but enough that I can lay wood down flat without hitting the screws. This would have been easier to do while this was still flipped over the other side, but you know, here we are. Now for the boards that I'm going to use to join, I want to match pretty much along the length of this here. I just might need to trim it off on one end a little bit. About right there, that would be good. And we can run a couple screws down it. Okay, so now I've got these stainless screws. I'm going to try to use the shortest ones I have so they don't poke through. 3/4 inch screws. Plus all of the hardware is going to be on the bottom side. I'll have a link to these screws in the description if you guys need them. Now I'm going to go ahead and join the other side. Then once both sides are attached, I'm going to flip it over and fully uninstall the reverse pieces. All right, let's get this flipped over and remove the other supports. Even with all this wood, it's still rather light since we're using thin plywood to begin with. And we're about to remove all this. So now with the other side removed, we'll flip this back over one more time. Oh, it's noticeably lighter even with those last two pieces removed. I'm also going to go through with the sander and just clean up the edges. That way, once everything gets installed into the boat, with the thickness of the epoxy, it should still fit really well. The plan is going to be first adding some epoxy under the joined wood, make sure that gets all screwed down correctly. Then we're going to cover the entire bottom with epoxy. Then once that dries, we'll be flipping it over and then doing the top side, in which case this will be fully encased in epoxy. It will strengthen it and completely waterproof it. I've gone through many videos on how to mix and apply epoxy. If you do want a detailed video on this, I will have links in the description where you guys can watch my full detailed step-by-step guide on basically how to use this specific epoxy. I want to try and stretch this because this is all the epoxy I have on hand. Should be enough to get this all done. There you go. Like I said, just enough to get it started. Okay, that looks good. There we go. Now, no matter what, these two pieces are going to be fully joined and stronger than even the plywood is made. Let me see, I'm going to put another screw right here. I see a little gap. Perfect. All right. So the same thing to the other side now. All right, so same deal. Yeah, I was a little hesitant about the screw size I picked originally. That's why I was already changing over, and it looks like that was the right choice. Only thing I'm upset about is wasting that epoxy. A little gap right there. Oh, I am stepping all up in this epoxy. Okay, so despite that small mishap, I'm gonna start just doing the epoxy as we were already gonna do. Just gonna start with a light drizzle, and then we'll spread it around. All right, so at this point, the front deck bottom has been completed. I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the floor. Then we'll wait for this to dry 24 hours and we'll be back here doing the top side. We are back out here the next day, so let's see how the epoxy is cured. All right, so overall, this is looking really good. I see no issues with anything so far. Yeah, we have a nice glossy surface on everything. It feels like we got really good coverage. This is the top piece here. Yeah, that looks really, really good. It's cured completely. I was a little worried because it did get a little bit cooler and it's been raining, but overall, I see no issues with this. But if I can just get the reverse side coated on these, we are so close to getting everything installed. Let's go ahead and get these flipped over and see if there's any prep we gotta do. We might have to deal with a couple drips of the epoxy just by sanding it off, and then we can start applying the rest of the epoxy that I have on hand. All right, let's see how this is looking underneath. Oh wow, this thing feels so solid now. Oh. It really does feel like one unified piece. Look at that, there is no give or anything. That's awesome. Yeah, and then once all the epoxy gets down on this side, fills in all the seams here, this thing is gonna be absolutely rock solid. This came out better than I expected. Okay, so it's a little rainy out there still, but it's not too bad. I should be able to work along the outside of the garage. Let's go ahead and get this epoxy mixed up and applied. So I ran out of the normal chip brushes that I use. This is seems like a synthetic one. I'm interested to see how this works. Hopefully it works even better. I think it might, because of the way the epoxy kind of gums up the natural fibers. This might work a little bit better, so we'll see. I'll let you know. Here is how the floors are looking today. Everything is nice and epoxied. You can hear this here. It is a nice thick layer on this top part here. The underside and edges has been done as well. This is the center floor, also fully epoxied and waterproofed. I want to go ahead and get these pieces fit back into the boat to see where there's going to be adjustments needed. One thing for sure that I need to work on is vertical supports for these horizontal braces here. I have an extra piece of aluminum here that will definitely give me vertical supports, and then I'm going to try to cut some tabs that will probably come off the ribs down here that will give edge support for the top flooring. That way we'll have really strong support right down the center, we'll have nice support on the sides, and this thing will be fully braced and ready for walking. The nice thing about this boat is it has very nice flat ribs on the middle, so the flooring will be able to sit right on top of the foam boards and the ribs, so we shouldn't have to add any kind of anchors for the floor back here. All right, first let's go ahead and get the flooring into the boat to make sure everything fits after it's been epoxied. So it's a little bit tighter fit with the epoxy for sure, but just gotta level it out. It should fall into place here. There it is. Okay, this still looks really, really good. It is now more solid than ever with the epoxy. Okay, that still fits really good. I'm really happy to see that. We got no issues with that side there. Okay, so to make this lid work in this position would require me basically trimming off the whole one edge of the lip, and ultimately it's just not going to look great if I do it that way. However, I may have another solution that kind of retains the same functionality, but we're going to replace the lid entirely with a lid made from wood. That way I can put the lid essentially right here where I want it. We're going to keep the gap we were looking at. This will be perfect clearance for the braces and the floor, so we won't have to do any kind of trimming. And then essentially it will just install in place and then lift up and down, and it'll also sit nice and flush. Okay, so here's the cover I have cut. It's pretty much perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and drill out those rivets and then use that piano hinge to install to that piece of wood and see how this all fits up. So now we have our piano hinge here. So now we got to get this attached to the piece of wood. I do like it how it looks on this side, and the other side actually looks pretty good too. So I think we're going to go with this. I do need to flip the hinge around completely. That way the holes will line up with the previous ones. But other than that, this looks pretty good. Let me get that swapped around and see how we're doing. Okay, and now this opens. Pretty good. Closes. Doesn't open all the way because the wood is thicker than the aluminum, but that's actually not a problem, especially once this all gets installed. It'll actually be nicer so it's not just flapping around, because I was having the other one slam and hit the sidewall here. So this will almost be a little catch. I might even be able to install a little bumper on the other side just to have it held a little bit more securely. Also, there's going to be 4 screws here. Yeah, overall, I like this a lot. That's going to close there. Now, everything looks a little disjointed at the moment, but I see the vision now, and I think it's going to look really good. Basically, I'm going to be installing the flooring on the bench seat, the floor, the lid. Then there's going to be a T-channel gap filler that's going to cover the ends of the flooring. So that's going to make this look as one continuous piece. That will sit under this cover lid, so there'll be no contact with it closing. So that's going to look really good. Then I don't need to worry about adding any other pieces of wood up on the bench seat here. We've essentially just redid the lid with a piece of wood so it's flat, and that way I don't have to worry about those edges that curled over. All right, so I'm out here the next day. The first coating of epoxy has been completed. This is the underside of the front hatch lid. Now that this is done, I can go ahead and do the top side. Then once both sides are done, we can get this installed back into the boat, right on the piano hinge that the aluminum hatch lid was on. This, in theory, should give us a pretty flush mount to the floor that's already kind of set up the way it is. Then I'll be able to run the EVA foam flooring basically right up to the new lid that we're creating, and then from the back side over there right up to the hinge. That will keep this all looking super clean. Moving back, this floor is already looking really good the way it is. There shouldn't really need to be anything else I need to do for this flooring. Same with the back bench seat here. This is going to get all foam flooring along the back, plus some different accents on the very rear of the boat. So now I'm going to go ahead and get the bottom side of this done, let this dry, and then I'll check back when we're ready to get things installed. All right, so the lid has been fully epoxied and put into position on the boat, and I think it's gonna work exactly how I want it to. Reinstallation is going to take a little bit of modifications of the hinge. I need to sand parts of the lid that has some epoxy drips, which is making the one side uneven, and also get my spacing right to make sure that the hinge can fully open and close. I'm going to save that for the next video and pair that along with the additional bracing. I picked up some new aluminum and also a nice aluminum trim strip that I think might help bridge the gap here a lot nicer than some T-channel. I'm not fully sold on this idea yet, but once we start mocking it up, I'll know for sure if I want to go that route. All right, guys, well, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I've got a lot of cool things coming out for this boat very soon. In the next video, I plan on doing the EVA foam flooring installation, along with buttoning up any flooring installation and framing that still needs to be done. After that, I've got boxes of things sitting around the garage waiting to get installed onto this boat, so it's really gonna start to come together really soon. I've also got some other projects in the works that aren't really boat related, but things that you guys might find interesting. So keep an eye out for that. If you guys have any questions or comments on the build so far, don't forget to drop me a comment below. I'm always down there after videos get posted, answering what I can. All right, thanks for watching.